Easker. She's actually based out of Massachusetts, but we have support to help with some other folks based in New Jersey. And then we have a couple inside people who help support us on day-to-day activities. So you, at any point, may engage with or encounter or be contacted by one of these folks. So I think oftentimes we get into a situation where we think we have a person, and you have more than a person. You have a whole team of folks to help support you with questions, with orders, with anything that comes up. So I will share this so that you have it handy, and you're welcome to contact any and all of us at any point in time. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about a little bit today is how a home protection plan, home warranty can help with listings, help keep your sales on track, help protect your clients' budgets, help primarily mitigate risk, and ultimately build strong, long-lasting clients for life, because that's, I think, the name of the game for both you as agents and us as a warranty company. And then I want to share a little tip on how to stand out in a multiple offer situation, because from what I understand, that's the bane of everyone's existence right now. So let's talk a little bit about how a warranty can help you as an agent and your broker. So as an agent, you basically will be going out and trying to get hired to represent sellers and buyers. You're going on a job interview, whether you're going on a buyer meeting or a listing presentation. And we're going to talk a little bit about how a home warranty can add some value in both circumstances. From a broker perspective and also from an agent perspective, a home warranty is a huge bonus and added value with respect to risk, because unfortunately we live in a very litigious society and people want to point the finger at somebody when something goes wrong. Well, offering home warranties very often we can step in and take the hit and get you out of that loop and hopefully avoid any ongoing legal issues or concerns or problems down the road. We talked already about our team. So working with sellers, this is a real opportunity for you to shine by talking about using the home warranty. When you go on a listing appointment, you're trying to get hired to sell the house. And your intention, if you get the job, is to sell the house. One of the tools that you have access to and have available to you, and it's probably one of the most underutilized tools that I've seen, is the ability to offer to your sellers, when your sellers list with you, some limited coverage through the warranty while their house is on the market, listed for sale and up through closing. And very often people don't like to talk about it because they think it sounds like it's too good to be true. But you can set up some coverage for your seller if your seller is willing to consider offering a warranty to the buyer. When you find your buyer, they can have that coverage while they're under the listing agreement, up through home inspections, and it does not actually get paid for until the property closes and the warranty gets funded for the buyer going forward for 1 year. And the way that helps is a couple different things. Number one, it differentiates you as the listing agent because now you're providing some added value to that seller. And in a tight listing market, anything you can do to differentiate yourself or to add value or make your listing presentation stand out is going to be a bonus. It's no risk to that seller to put that coverage on, because if you don't sell that house, and obviously we all want to sell the house, but if you don't, that seller has the opportunity to walk away, even if they've made a claim. So it's some limited coverage, and we can talk about that in a few minutes, but it does not cost any money up front for that seller, and it only gets paid for at the closing table in the event that it's being conveyed over to the buyer. It becomes a very valuable tool in post inspection negotiations. Very often you'll have a situation where, especially in the East, where the home inspector will come back and say that your furnace is in working order but near the end of its useful life. And I can't see everybody, but I would assume that people are saying, oh yeah, because that's the job of a home inspector, is to report on the current condition and life expectancy. So it's in working order, but it's old. So they have to report on that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the seller is going to be willing to, able to, or have the desire to offer a replacement. Just because something's old, if it's still working, it does raise questions on the part of the buyer, but it's not necessarily a reason to replace something. So if you have a home warranty and you can offer to your potential buyer a home warranty as a way to provide a safety net, more or less, versus replacing something, very often you can minimize the erosion to your commission and also your seller's proceeds. So for example, the home inspector will say that the furnace is near the end of its useful life and the buyer should budget for replacement. So instead of giving that buyer $5,000 to buy a new furnace or putting $5,000 in escrow, which nobody wants to do, the seller can offer for somewhere between $600 and $800, depending on the program, a home warranty. And not only is that furnace now protected in the event that it fails in the first year, but so are other items in the home, like the water heater, the air conditioner, the appliances, the plumbing, the electrical system. So it's a way to help negotiate past the replacement of something. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions?
That's perfect.
Lisa, I have a question. I just wanted to, I think oftentimes the agents, they do understand the value of, especially during the home inspection negotiation period time, that a home warranty could, help keep a deal together or make the buyer and seller comfortable with whatever issues or older mechanicals, that kind of thing. I just, from a broker's point of view, I always worry, what is the best way for an agent to kind of offer, but without explaining, oftentimes I think that agents will be like, let's put a home warranty on, everything's covered. I don't want the agents, saying that kind of thing. I often try to tell them, have the customer call the home warranty company and ask specific questions about what is or what isn't covered, that kind of thing. I think, agents, while being well-intentioned and a lot of things are covered, I never want to be the one to kind of explain the contract or what is or isn't covered.
Absolutely. And when, I like to tell, I usually like to share with agents when I talk with them, you guys, your expertise is selling houses. Ours is selling warranties. And as partners, we work together to accomplish exactly what you're talking about. No one would expect you to know that a shower pan is or is not covered. And if you did, I'd be really surprised. I'd be surprised if you knew what a shower pan was, nor would you care. But different things will come up, questions will come up. And that's why I shared with you the depth of our team here, because it absolutely is imperative that you're going to get questions. Your clients are going to have questions about, would this be covered? Would this be covered? And the best thing to do is simply ask us directly and we'll give you an answer. We're not going to tell you that it's covered if it's not going to be covered, because that just sets everybody up for failure. One of the biggest issues, I think, and I think this goes to your point, Kelly, is expectations. If you expect that the warranty is going to cover everything and it's going to be magical and there's never going to be something that's not covered and we're automatically going to replace everything when it breaks, then you're going to be disappointed. So It's important to understand that the warranty is a plan that's designed to address normal wear and tear failures. So things wear out as they get old, and if that's what causes the failure, then we're going to either repair it or replace it. If we can repair it, we always would opt to repair something first. If we can't repair it, then we're going to replace it. Normal wear and tear. The pump on the dishwasher is going to fail after so many years because it just wears out. But if the dishwasher doesn't work because the door won't close properly because your 2-year-old nephew jumped on it, that's not normal wear and tear. It's not going to be a covered item. So those are some of the basic guidelines that you have to think about when you're talking about this. It's normal wear and tear failures, and it's repair or replace, not necessarily always replace. And I think if everybody keeps those little guidelines in mind, with any specific questions that you have that come up, because people will ask, some people ask nothing, some people ask very detailed questions. We have plenty of information we can share that gives chapter and verse detailed contract language, but also on a day-to-day basis, if you have a question, that's ideally you would check with us and we'll tell you the story. And there are enough local folks that you don't need to call into the 800 number. There's always somebody available, either by email, text, phone, to answer the question. So long answer, but great question. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so from a seller's perspective, you have the opportunity to set up coverage for that seller, use it as a negotiation tool to get through inspections, help protect your sellers while their house is on the market, because that's the last thing they want to do is spend money if they're selling the house in the event that something breaks. And somehow houses always know when the water heater breaks right before you're ready to go to closing, right? But at the same time, we're in sort of a unique market right now where sellers don't have to offer a warranty to incent a buyer to buy their house because there are 16 other buyers lined up behind them. So how can you use a home warranty in the current market where you've got the multiple offer situation? Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so this sounds kind of convoluted, backwards, upside down, but that's the world we're living in. So let's embrace it, right? So in the event that you're working with buyers and the buyers are bidding on a home where there's a multiple offer situation, one of the suggestions that we share with agents, and it absolutely positively works, it's not a magic bullet, but it certainly does work in a lot of cases. Use the warranty to differentiate the offer that you're making to that seller. And basically what we suggest is you have the buyer of the property offer as part of their offer to the seller. The buyer offers to buy a home warranty for themselves, excuse me, at closing, and also extend to that seller, if that seller accepts the offer, the seller optional coverage while you're under agreement through the inspection process and up through closing. So it doesn't cost that seller anything additional, but it brings an added value or adds value to the offer that your buyer is making, because now your buyer is giving that seller some coverage while that house is under agreement. I mean, in most cases, you're looking at least 60 days. So things can happen. You know, I sort of said tongue in cheek about the water heater, but if the water heater breaks, you're under agreement to go to closing, that seller is not going to be a happy camper if they have to buy a new water heater. Now you're giving them some protection. Not to mention, if there is a home inspection, and hopefully there is, just for your sake, but if something shows up that's a covered item on the home inspection, that seller can use the warranty to address that issue. And so it brings an added value. If that seller does not accept your offer, then no harm, no foul. You walk away and nothing gets bought. But if that seller does accept your offer, now you set up that warranty, you add the seller's option and the seller's name, and at closing, your buyer pays for a home warranty for themselves, and they'll pick up the additional, I think it's $65 or $75 for the seller option. And you've added value, got that transaction for your buyer. But the other thing now is that you've got protection for that buyer going forward, so that your buyer, in the event that something happens in the first year, and statistically something will happen, we know that. And it could be something as simple as the toilets get clogged on the weekend that they're moving in, or it could be something as major as the furnace fails within the first couple months that they own the house. Either way, you don't want that phone call. So now by having that buyer protected, you've gotten some extra protection for your client, and you don't have to be afraid to call them up and say, hey, how are things going? Has everything gone well? And because if there is a problem, the home warranty is there to step in and take that hit and to address the issue. So it seems a little backwards because the buyer's buying the warranty and offering coverage to the seller. But if it gets that transaction for your buyer, it's a bonus. And it doesn't cost anything to ask the question or to make the offer. Does anybody have any questions about how that works?
So Lisa, when do they pay? Does the buyer pay for it immediately, or is it closing?
We never collect money until the settlement day. So it gets paid for at the closing table, just like if the seller were offering. Good question.
So
Thanks.
if the sale falls apart, say the buyer doesn't get their mortgage after the inspections are all agreed upon, there's no charge.
There's no charge.
Being a
Okay.
liar is what
Yep.
we-
So there really is no risk in making the suggestion. I actually was
Yes,
working
you
with
know.
an agent here in PA a couple of weeks ago, and she was in a bidding war with 10 other agents, and she used this tool, and the seller was so impressed that they even considered them just as a gesture. They thought it was great. She got the deal for her buyer. So different people have different reasons for doing it, but there is no risk ultimately, because if they say no, or if the house doesn't appraise, or if the inspection turns out to be a nightmare and they back out, whatever is the reason for the fall through, doesn't really matter. The warranty doesn't get paid for until closing. Anybody else? This particular slide, and I'll share this with you guys, but gives you some language that you might be able to use as part of your offer. So the buyer to pay for a 1-year American Home Shield warranty upon mutual acceptance of the offer. We will purchase warranty coverage prior to home inspection and extend listing coverage to the seller. Listing coverage is our coverage for the seller at no additional cost to them. So just a way to offer it. And it's a great post-sale liability tool for the seller and the seller's agent. But if it gets you that deal and you've been trying to get that buyer a house for many, many months, it's certainly worth trying. So if anybody has any questions about how that works, or you want to try and offer it, please reach out. I'm happy to help you get it set up or to address your questions. Okay. I just wanted to share with you that we have branded marketing materials. This is actually our brochure. And it's a 2-part brochure. There's this part that talks about the warranty in general, and then this is the actual application page. And we have 3 different levels of coverage. All of our plans come with livable, forget what we call livable. I keep moving this thing so I can see. We call it livable, forgivable coverage. Most other warranty companies make this be an upgrade. All 3 of our levels of coverage have these items included in the package. It's really a function of what you want to cover. So our most basic plan is strictly major mechanical systems, so plumbing, heating, electric, water heater, and air conditioning. There are no appliances in the basic coverage. And then the next level up adds in appliances, and the next level up beyond that adds in things like garage door opener, ceiling fans, and some other miscellaneous items. But all of the plans include these things. And this doesn't mean anything right now, but it does mean something to a client who's having a repair or a replacement done, or has a service claim. Things like the permit to put the water heater in or the air conditioner in. You don't realize you're going to need it until you need it. The thermal expansion tank that has to go in on the water heater. You don't realize that that's going to be an extra coverage cost until it comes up, or simply removing the old equipment from the house. That's another one. Again, these are all built into each and every one of our plans. So, any questions about that?
That looks great.
Then as far as getting coverage set up, we have an abundance of ways you can do that. You can set up an account on our pro.ahs.com site. If you can order from Amazon, you can order from us. It's super simple. Once you set up your account, it ties all of your listings and warranty orders to you and to your office, and it tracks them for you. It gives you the ability to schedule service. If you wanted to pay for a warranty, you can pay for that warranty online by using that account. You can email us an application, a filled out application. Someone can enter that for you. You can phone our 800 number, and you can certainly reach out to any of my team to get warranties set up. Basically, the way that it would work is if you're working just with a seller and you want to set up some coverage for your seller while the house is on the market, we simply need the property address and the seller's name and contact information. And then when you get your buyer and the house is sold and you're getting ready to go to closing, you let us know who that buyer is going to be. We add that to the contract and send an invoice to the closing attorney or title company so that it gets on the closing document, gets paid at closing, and that buyer is covered literally from that point forward for 1 year. Any questions? We try to make it simple. And like I said before about basic rules, repair or replace. We'll always try to repair if we can. If we can't repair, then we offer to replace. Normal wear and tear failures, and never collect any money until the property goes to settlement. So.
And Lisa, the agent, say for the buyer, can buy it and pay for it themselves out of closing too, correct?
That's correct, yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Lisa, and we have writers that can go on the signs too, correct, if we want them?
Yep, we have branded brochures, we have a few branded marketing pieces, and we also have branded sign writers that say that home warranty is included with the property. Century 21 branded.
Nice.
So, I'm sorry?
Yeah, and I believe they are in all the offices. If anybody has a listing and you want to, and the seller might want to offer it too, if it's been on the market a while.
This is a great tool to use if you've got a house that's been on the market for a while and you're going to do perhaps a price adjustment rather than making a $10,000 price adjustment, maybe make a $5,000 price adjustment and add a warranty. If it's in a highly competitive neighborhood where there are a lot of houses for sale, absolutely, you would want to put a sign writer on there saying that this one's different, this one's coming with a home protection plan. If you're in a situation, and different markets have different circumstances. So if you're in that multiple offer, multi-buyer circumstance, by all means, try. It absolutely costs nothing to make that offer, because if they turn it down, they turn it down. And if you're working on trying to get listings, use this as a way to differentiate your listing or presentation from the others, because you're bringing this extra value, and you can set your seller up with this coverage while their house is listed for sale, and we will not collect any money until the property closes. If that warranty gets negotiated out for whatever reason, or the home never sells and it gets pulled off the market, then even if that seller has made a claim, they get to walk away. So it's really literally no risk to that seller. But there's so much added value long-term from a post-sale perspective. One of the things that we do is each week we send you as an agent a digital postcard. If your client has used the warranty that you've ordered for them, we're going to send you a little postcard stating what the claim was for, how much we paid, and that will continue as your client renews year after year after year. And it's a really fantastic opportunity for you to reach out and stay in touch with your past clients, because we all want clients for life. So it's a great way to do that. Any other questions? I wanted to
They
share
can extend that
this.
warranty after a year.
I'm sorry.
The buyer can extend the warranty after a year.
Absolutely. At the end of the year, the buyer will be contacted, probably more than they'd like, about renewing that warranty. We have clients that renew for 17, 20 years, for as long as they live in their homes. So, and ideally, that's what we would like to have. So, contrary to popular opinion, we do pay claims. We love to pay claims, because if a client has an opportunity to use us and has a claim paid, then they see this value and they will renew. Because back to when I said how we know something's going to happen. Something will happen in the first year. It's just the way that, the house has been used by the people that live there in a certain way. And so I'll use my house, for example. We run the dishwasher maybe twice a week because there's 2 of us. Well, if someone bought my house with 4 kids, they would run it probably twice a day. And if there was a weakness in that dishwasher, it would show up very quickly. That's the type of thing that shows up in the first year, in spite of all the due diligence that everyone does relative to inspections and so forth. But we want that claim paid because we want that client to renew, ideally. Anyone else?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could go back. This is Michelle from Connecticut. Can you go back 2 screens to where you showed the Century 21 flyer that you had with your information on it so I can take a screenshot? It was back 2 screens.
This one?
Let me see. It's not changing.
Michelle, you're just looking for Lisa and Andrea's contact info?
No, the screenshot where she showed the actual flyer that would say Century 21. Yes, whoop, right there.
There you go.
Awesome. I just wanted to get that information so I can let it sink in a little bit and read it.
You know what? I will share my contact information. If you would shoot me an email on, well, actually, what I'll do is I'll get Kelly's, and then I can share a PDF copy of the brochure.
Oh,
So that
wonderful.
you can have that. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any other questions, or do you think that it would be worthwhile doing a little bit more of a deep dive to do like a home warranty 101? Because we could schedule a webinar for something like that if you'd like.
I honestly think this was fantastic. So I thought, I didn't know you could renew either. That was news to me. Is that always been the case?
Always been the case.
Awesome. Okay, so great job. We do have these brochures in all the offices. So if any agents want one, just reach out to your MA. And I really appreciate your time. This was great.
Thank you. Hey, Jody, just 2 quick things. One, is the claim, which are important, and we share that. And we pay we like paying claims because if people use us, they'll renew. We don't make money on the contract the first year. So Lisa, I'm gonna just steal something real quick. Can I ask you the screen?
Go for it. Oh, let me stop sharing.
Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. This is a big lesson I got when I started with the company, and I keep it with me all the time. And it harkens back to something Kelly said earlier in the call about just understanding how it works. That's why Lisa's team. We don't want you to sell it to be confusing. Agents don't want to look bad, and I understand that. It can be very confusing. That's why we have Lisa, Andrea, and her team. I was down in San Antonio, Texas, with a big broker. And I walked into the conference room and I said, "What's that?" It was against the wall. And I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, it's like 16 across. There's about 80 forms in there. I said, "What's this?" And they said, "Oh, that's every piece of paper that may have to go into a transaction, a real estate transaction in the state of Texas. You're that one." And they put it in one little cubby. And then and there, I realized as important as to us, it's not that important on the scheme of things until it's needed. That's why our team is there to support you, take advantage of them, and get.
That's really funny.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you so much. And I guess that wraps it up. Kelly,
Thank you.
anything else?
I don't think so. I appreciate everyone's time. I think we all learned something from the Aegis home warranty guys. So we appreciate your time. If anyone wants more information, again, I'll have all their contact information, and you guys can reach out. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.